budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.
Hello and welcome to the inside of the brand new Opel Corsa. We're about to review it and I'm quite excited about that. But before we get to the review, I would like to tell you about Cars.co.za's app, because it is now officially the #1 automotive app in South Africa, which we're very proud of. We've had over 1.5 million downloads across Apple and Android app stores. And it's a fantastic place. It really is. It's a fantastic place to spend some time. It's got all the new car specs, and of course it's got access to the biggest selection of used cars in South Africa, nearly 65,000 cars. Okay, I'll stop rabbiting on about our app now. Go check it out. It's completely free. Find your next car. Okay, here we go. The new Opel Corsa review. Now, you might have seen the new Corsa already on South African roads because it has kind of been around since December, but the company waited to launch it officially now in March 2021. And of course, the Opel Corsa really has its work cut out for it, because in this segment, the Volkswagen Polo reigns supreme. But I think that this car has all the bits and pieces and the right credentials to take on the Polo, and let me tell you why. First of all, on pricing, well, you can get a base spec Corsa for 274,000, which is quite a bit cheaper than the base spec Polo, which is 290, and you can get a top spec Corsa for, actually, it's not a big difference, 4,000 Rand cheaper than a top spec Polo. Yes, a top spec Polo, a 1-litre turbo, costs you 390 grand. A Polo costs 390,000 Rand. When did that happen? The world's gone mad. Anyway, but what Opel have done is make sure that spec for spec and pricing and size of the vehicle and the full offering is bang in line with what you get in the Polo. But let's also not forget that there are lots of other rivals out there, such as the Kia Rio, the Hyundai i20, the Ford Fiesta. This car actually has a lot of competition from across the market. But for this review, and so that I don't have to spit out thousands of numbers at you, I'm just going to look mostly at the Polo as a competitor and a little bit at the Ford Fiesta. Right, that was a long intro. Are you still with me? Stay with me. It's important stuff coming up. Now, here is where it gets interesting, because this Opel Corsa is not actually an Opel. Are you confused? Well, let me explain. So, Peugeot, a couple of years ago, bought Opel, and to save money, they developed this Opel Corsa on the Peugeot platform, which underpins the 208 and the 2008. So, this has a Peugeot engine, Peugeot gearbox, and Peugeot chassis. Yeah, let me know what you think about that. It's quite an interesting one. But here's what I think about it. I think this is a really good chassis and a really good engine and a really good gearbox. I really do. Let me explain why. Well, actually, I'm really freaking impressed with this car. And I've just driven the 2008 and I was really impressed with that as well. And the thing is, the engine in here, which is a 3-cylinder 1.2-litre turbo, has actually been around for quite a while, but Peugeot has just been, tweaking and improving it. And so this Opel Corsa is benefiting from years of R&D, which have gone into this little 1.2 3-cylinder. And I think it's actually one of the best small car engines on the market. So for instance, in the equivalent Polo or Fiesta, you're getting a 1-litre turbo with quite a bit less power and quite a bit less torque. In fact, with 96 kilowatts and 230 Newton meters in here, it's a good 15 to 20% more power than you're getting in, say, the Fiesta, and quite a bit more power than you're getting in the Polo. And that means that this car is actually quite nippy. It's quite fun to drive. I wasn't expecting that so much, actually. And it's also not so heavy. So a lot of aluminium in the construction, so it's quite nimble. Now, one of the downsides, of course, to having all of that power is it's difficult for the engine to be as efficient. And on paper, at least, this car is the least efficient of the lot, but not by too much, to be honest. And mostly it depends on your driving style anyway. If you're going to hammer any of these small 1 litre, 1.2 litre turbocharged engines, you're going to use a lot of fuel. And I don't think that this car really, in the real world, uses more or less fuel than any of its rivals. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Just drive conservatively and you'll save money in any car. That's basically the rule of thumb that applies. So with all the engine and oily bits out of the way, let's get onto the consumery stuff. So we'll look at the Polo and the Fiesta. When it comes to warranties and service plans, 3-year 120,000 in this and in the Polo, and the service plan is 3-year 45,000 as well. Now, interestingly, the Fiesta, which is cheaper, actually, 374,000, 16,000 rand cheaper than the Polo for the top spec 1 litre turbo titanium auto model, comes with a better service plan and a better warranty. Extra year, 4-year 120,000 on the warranty, and a 4-year 60,000 on the service plan, which is pretty impressive, actually. So you're paying less for the Ford and getting more backup and coverage and warranty and that sort of thing, which is quite curious. I think that's quite important, you know, something to consider. Now, there are only 3 variants of Opel Corsa to choose from. There's one called the Edition. Like, I'm not kidding, it's actually called the Edition, which is quite confusing. And then there's this Elegance, and there's a third one, the entry-level one. Well, this is the top-spec Elegance model. So what you're getting in here is quite a bit of extra nice, touchy-feely stuff, like a nice leather stitched steering wheel. You're getting partial leather and cloth seats. It's quite nice, sort of soft touch dashboard. It's a very high quality interior, this. It really is. I think they've stepped it up quite nicely. But then there's also, what's quite impressive in my opinion, is the very low road noise, very low amount of noise, vibration, harshness coming into the cabin. It's a very well sorted chassis, this. The suspension, I think, has been tuned more for comfort, which I quite like. You know, not all cars need to go fast around the Nürburgring. Sometimes you just need something comfortable to run around town, and that's what this Corsa is. I mean, I'm sure that they will bring out hot versions, the GSI and all the rest of it, and hopefully those will be brought to South Africa. But right now, if you're looking for a comfortable, quiet run around, then this Opel Corsa ticks a lot of boxes. And in terms of tech, this car is very well spec'd as well. You've got radar guided cruise control, which is pretty damn impressive in this segment. 6 airbags, which I'm really impressed with. Stability control, which some of its rivals don't have, for instance, rivals from Hyundai and Kia, and I think that that's very important safety technology. Now, of course, they had to put that sort of thing in because that's what the Polo offers, and those sorts of things raise the prices up. So you might be able to pick up a Hyundai or a Kia for cheaper than this Corsa, but if safety systems are important to you, then you do need to spend a bit more and get something like this, or a Polo or a Fiesta. In terms of practicality, the boot is about 15-20% smaller than that in a Polo, but we managed to get all of our film gear in here. It's actually relatively spacious. And in terms of rear seat space, I was pretty impressed as well. Not the best in class, but definitely a huge improvement on the previous Corsa. One of the Achilles heels with the previous Corsa actually was quite cramped rear passenger space. So they seem to have sorted that out. This is a much larger car overall because it is on a larger chassis. So you do get quite a bit more interior space, and it does feel nice and roomy in here. Good elbow room. I feel very comfortable. Good headroom. And even though the car is actually lower, the roofline is actually lower than its predecessor, you actually get more headroom. So that's very clever structural engineering that's gone into this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm pretty comfortable in this Corsa, actually. So in terms of product, I don't have any complaints here, really. Something that's bothering me a little bit is the digital instrument display looks a bit cheap, because I think in Europe it would be bigger and it would take up this whole display, but maybe to save costs, the South African models feature a smaller display, and it's got these little sort of space fillers on the side, which kind of look a little bit cheap. But other than that, all of this looks quite fancy, looks quite expensive, quite premium. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the cabin, pretty happy with the ride quality, really happy with the engine power. So let me try and help you make a decision here. Let's say you're trying to decide between this new Corsa, a VW Polo, and a Ford Fiesta. I think the Polo is probably the best looking, especially if you get one with the R-Line kit. That's quite a good looking car. That from the outside, this Corsa does look a little bit plain, and we don't seem to have the exterior trim options that you get in Europe, which really sort of smarten the exterior up a bit. So that's a little bit of a letdown. In terms of interior comfort and specification, yeah, pretty much a dead heat for me. I mean, they all offer pretty much the same thing. In terms of safety tech and on-road tech, I think this car trumps it, especially with its radar-guided cruise control. That's pretty impressive. So the Corsa's got it on that one. But overall, which one do I like the most? Oh, it's a really tough one. I think my problem with Polos is that they've almost become a victim of their own success, right? Because they're so popular, they're so common, and so you don't really stand out anymore if you've got a nice Polo. And also, of course, its popularity has led to some security issues. Because there's so many Polos on the road, there's a huge demand for parts, which drives the theft industry, which is quite sad. It's almost like they're being punished for being so successful. So that is something to consider when you're buying a VW Polo. I think in the Corsa, you're getting something quite unique and something quite exclusive. For me, it would probably be between this and the Ford Fiesta. And that's a really tough one. You know, when I scratch my beard, and I'm seriously thinking, really giving this a lot of thought. I think I'd take this. Yeah, I think this has got it for me. Look, it's a much more modern car. The Ford Fiesta's been out for a really long time. It's probably going to be replaced soon. But yeah, I think this has won me over. I really do. I know my colleagues don't really like it, but I'm actually pretty sold. And this is my video, so I can say what I want. Alrighty, thanks very much for watching. We'd love to hear from you in the comments below which you would choose. Tell me why and which one you'd go for: Ford Fiesta, VW Polo, Opel Corsa. And before I go, let me give our exclusive merchandise a quick punt. So you can buy this really cool hoodie. It's lovely, it's comfortable, it's a bit of a slim fit. It's very, very warm. I love it, and especially I don't have to pay for it because I work for Cars.co.za. But you can pick one up in our online store, Cars.co.za/shop. There's tons of good stuff there. Good gifts for petrol heads and good gifts for yourself. Spoil yourself, you know? It's been a tough year. Get yourself something nice. Alrighty, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Be safe. We'll see you in the next review. Bye for now. Thanks very much for watching. If you've just watched this video but you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, you absolutely should do that immediately right now. Click the subscribe button. It's a good idea for a bunch of reasons which I actually don't have really a lot of time to go into. But it's good. It's a good idea. Excellent. Thanks for watching. I said that already.
Budget insurance. Affordable because you can't afford not to.